Peace to the saints. Today we are talking about lifestyles of the wealthy, kind of give you a little taste of my lifestyle. And more importantly, we really want to focus on mindset because no one becomes wealthy or maintains wealth on accident. These are always things that occur directly because of the behaviors you demonstrate over a sustained period of time, which is to say that success and failure don't just show up suddenly, they accumulate. And so we're going to address that. Also, one of the members at marquettism.com sent in a request for a video. But first, I'll give you guys a little tour. I'll show you guys a little bit about how I'm living. And first, I want to show you the sound system because the surround sound is crazy out here. You dig? So I'm going to let you get a little taste of the Bluetooth surround system. Show them a little bit of the place that we got here. And then we'll let you hear this system. And I guess I'll give them a tour as well.
Yeah, you should be touring them.
So check out this system.
Go ahead, play it while I'm touring.
Right, I know. I'm trying to get it up. I'm a little bit tardy right now. Here we go. Crazy. Okay. Guys, confirm when we're back popping. Okay, come on. Let me know if there.
Yeah.
Are they back? Are we back? Turn around this way.
Are we back? Let us know, guys, if you can see everything. Yeah, we back. All right.
Cool. So I'm gonna give you guys a tour. One thing I always like with anywhere I stay is don't get that in there. I like when you come in and it's a double door. So the double door always lets you know it's boss season out here, you dig? And then secondly, when you come into a suite, it's always nice to have a guest bathroom. I personally don't like sharing bathrooms with anyone. So it has a nice guest bathroom here and then a closet for your guests to go ahead and hang up their various items. And what's super player about this spot are two things actually. One, it has a theater room. So I don't know about you, but I don't find it common that you get a theater room in your suite. So right here, obviously we got the nice accommodations if you want to host some people.
Nick Dodger just said, just bought the black box and can't wait to learn.
Oh, I appreciate that. Same for those of you who haven't read the Black Box, it really tells my story of coming from the mud, coming from very dire circumstances and being able to earn my way out of it. Not through any magic, but through hard work and having a certain mindset. So if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. If you want a paperback, you can get it on Amazon.com or you can get a low-cost ebook at www.marquettism.com. There should be a link in the description. But everything in here is pretty tricked out quite well. These LCD displays here control the audio and video for the surround sound. And you even have microphones if you want to do some karaoke. We probably should one day have a little, so I didn't even realize.
No, you can't sing.
Oh yeah, no, I can't sing. But isn't that the point of karaoke?
Yeah, that's why I hate karaoke.
So we got the theater room, then we have a ton of square footage here. We were playing earlier, so all the balls are off of the table, but we got a proper pool table, which is a nice little social thing. It's a nice touch to have enough room to have a pool table. And then obviously you have your proper living room. And a lot of things here are, they just add the extra so that you can feel that luxury, right? Like this TV here is not really well positioned for anyone to sit down and watch. It's just there. And obviously they have speakers throughout here as well as the theater room, which is quite nice. And they got a proper brush and all the things you need to have a proper pool game. And let's see, I always camp out at the desk. That's always my number one thing, is to set up at the desk. Oh yeah, and peace to the saints who have received their backpack briefcase. You dig? If you follow on IG, you'll see a lot of people tagging. We're almost out of those. I appreciate the love, and you got a beautiful piece, you dig? So enjoy. Let me know how you like it. This is the master bedroom, and similarly in all of the bedrooms, or all the rooms actually, you have various remotes, and in this case, this is to electronically open the shears or the blinds. And of course, the view is quite nice. And I love opening all the shears so that you can kind of watch the whole view of the city. And obviously the sunset and the sunrise is really what you gotta appreciate from here. Oh, and here's another treat. Me, I'm into bathrooms. You guys follow me, you know that if I go somewhere, I want the electronic bidet, I want all the fancy stuff. This is a decent setup for a his and her, but generally the high luxury nowadays, the his and her bathroom is actually separated. So that's pretty cool. You always get out the shower and the tub option, but this is pretty cool. You have your own gym, basically, your own little stairmaster. Where's the light in this joint? Is it outside? Here? Huh, okay. Oh, no? You gotta be kidding me. That's not very clever. Oh, they even put a nice little towel here. How's the view? Can you even see me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can? That's great. This is great. Do I really want to work out here? No, not really. But it's nice to have it, and I think the key with luxury is not about necessity. Luxury is about want, right? Luxury is about want. And they try to give you more than you could want, more than is necessary. And, right, like there's 2 TVs in this bathroom? That is completely idiotic. It's beautiful though. So you got a TV there and a TV there. That's great. And what do they call this? A vanity setup for the lady to put her fake face on? Cool. But if you're really a hustler, the place that you always come back to consistently is the desk to work, because that is how you earn the right to be here. But I really want you guys to know for this month, I'm making a lot of improvements and changes in my life. You should always be asking yourself, how can I get to the next level? And you never end up at the next level on accident. And further, you have to know that if you want something, you have to invest in yourself, whether it's investing more time, more discipline, more hours in the gym, more time around intelligent people, doing favors for people, whatever the case is. So nothing happens by accident. Recently, one of the saints asked me, he said, hey, Marquett, what do you do if you're in a situation, perhaps in the military, and the officer who outranks you, meaning they're kind of in charge of you, so to speak, they're not a good leader? Well, you're in a hierarchical organization, which means that you're required to be obedient to this person. So there's really no getting around that. One of the worst things you could do is try to go around that person, which will only inflame a bad situation and cause them probably to try to do you some disservice. So the best thing you can do if you don't appreciate that hierarchy is to try to advance as quickly as possible within it, or to get out of the hierarchy. And the way you should think about that is asking yourself, what's my ultimate goal? Because at the end of the day, sometimes we're spending a lot of time doing what we gotta do because we've lied to ourselves thinking we have to do fill in the blank, when really we don't have to do fill in the blank. So you have to always ask yourself, is this true? Meaning, are my assumptions actually real, or are they imagined? But if you're dealing with a situation wherein you have a superior that you don't like, try to remove yourself from that hierarchy and maybe get under a different superior. But if you can't do that, then obviously you just got to suck it up, be polite, try to improve the relationship as best you can. But remember, if you try to get out of that hierarchy and you know they're going to find out about it, you have to be ready for the consequences, which is to say, make sure that you're really ready to get out. You really have a real plan for getting out of that hierarchy. You have an actual move that you can make. Shout out to Samson. He writes, peace to the saints. Of all of the qualities that are attributed to one's success, what would you say is the most important? I'm intrigued to know. By far, the most important trait is focus.
pick your goal. Stick to your goal. There's one young man who's been doing consultations with me for a long time, very intelligent gentleman, more than most. But we've talked about product-based business, but he keeps switching products without seeing it through. And I'm a true believer of enduring the full cycle of whatever you're dealing with, the full cycle of a friendship, the full cycle of a product, full cycle of a relationship. Sometimes you should quit, but unless we're talking about a vice, drugs, alcohol, yeah, you should quit those things. But otherwise, you need to go through the full cycle to get the lesson. And that's what I'm encouraging this gentleman to do, is to be more focused. You can't achieve something until you stick with it. Success is not an overnight thing. So by far, focus is the most important characteristic. And when I say focus, I don't mean, coming back to the same thing only. I mean engaging that activity with a high level of intensity. You're focused on it and you're intense about it. You have an urgency. You really want to get it done. You really want to win. Shout out to Mackenzie, who comes through with tuition. He writes, tuition been due. Appreciate that, Saint. Shout out to Alaric, sends through $25 on Cash App. He writes, tips on building an audience for pre-launch. Well, Alaric, feel free to drop in the chat a little more details, but generally speaking, a human being takes at least 15 separate marketing messages for you to influence them. Which is to say that we're numb to marketing because we hear it all of the time. Buy this, buy that, buy this. Which is to say you have to have some repetitive messaging. So if you're doing a pre-launch, you need to start early enough that you can actually get the person influenced through repetitive messaging on different platforms. So they need to see you frequently, or see your product frequently, or see the utility of the product, or you need to be able to position it psychologically, which is to say, if you drink this kind of water, people will think that you're wealthy because this water costs $10 per bottle. And you need to be able to tell that message on a regular basis so that you can influence them. So pre-launch requires repetition. It requires use of multiple platforms. It requires psychological positioning. Why do you want this bottle of water other than the water that comes from your tap? Tap water won't kill you. This water won't make you any stronger, but it'll surely make you look wealthier. Don't we all want to look wealthy? Don't we want people to look up to us like we're special, like we got extra income, we got something somebody else wants? So you keep on hitting them with that psychological messaging. And the truth is, within human beings, we actually use things like this to separate us from other human beings. Because we deeply believe in hierarchy. I drink Fiji, so people look at me like, oh, this guy has extra money. He can waste it on unnecessary things. We get this enormous suite with a pool table. I don't even play pool. But when people come in, they're impressed, aren't they? That's why we do these things. So you have to make sure that your product connects to psychological utility. Or you might get something because it makes you look sexy. You have to position your product in a meaningful way. Marketing is a real art, and it takes bravery because not only are you delivering that repetitive message, you also have to make sure that the message stands out. It's memorable. It's remarkable, meaning people want to remark. And if you've been able to achieve a remarkable marketing strategy, what you've done is you've made the viewers of your ad, you've turned them into marketers. Because when they talk about your product, well, then you have someone marketing on your behalf. Like, for example, this hat right here, which you can get at manandwomanbrand.com. It's linked in the description. When someone sees this, they say, oh, cool hat, man. I like that. It's like kind of like a distressed denim. Yeah, thanks. They're like, what are those two symbols? I was like, it's a man and a woman. Can't you see that? And they're like, yeah, I can see that. But what's that about? I was like, well, it represents man and woman. Those of us who believe that the male and the female are a natural pair, partners. We should get along and support each other. That's what it represents. Well, if they're offended, they might be like, oh, well, what about woman and woman? What about man and man? Man, that's not what this is about. They're pissed. They go have a conversation. They remark about it. I saw this guy. He's wearing a hat. It's called Man and Woman. There's this thing called Man and Woman brand. Oh, thanks. You've now promoted my brand. Or if it's someone who says, wow, you know what? I grew up Baptist, or I'm a Muslim, or I just believe man and woman should be together biologically, scientifically. All the evidence points to that. Like, that's cool. And they're going to go tell someone because it's unusual. It is remarkable. So they've now become a marketer on your behalf. That is how you prepare for pre-launch. And also, if you have existing audience, then you can do pre-sales, which is always ideal. Thank you for that question, Saint. I do want to acknowledge Candon Mosley, who came through. He writes, get them likes. Oh, true indeed. We already have one hater who clicked the dislike. They must not be enjoying life. They must be mad that I have a pool table in here. I call it hating. Me, I'd be inspired. Like, this man got a pool table. He doesn't even play pool. He got 2 TVs in his bathroom. This is ridiculous. I love it. Why? Because I like boss talk. I like to see people winning. That's just my nature. Some people, they get jelly. So go ahead and flood him out by clicking that like button, Saints. I mean, after all, you're paying $0.99, most of you. Nemar writes, peace to the Saint. You helped me change my life for the better. Thank you. That means a lot to me. That means everything to me. Meditation is a real life changer. Yes, it is. It can keep you centered and at peace. Thank you so much. I quit marijuana because of it. This means so much to me because you know I rail against intoxicants. And in fact, I was having a conversation earlier today with Sarah, I kid you not. And I was telling her, I said, you know what, this work is so important that we do. People do set down the bottle. They do free themselves of the smoke. They do make life change. They do improve their physical health. They take this stuff seriously and they see great outcomes because of it. And that is a great payment to me. And I literally said, a guy just told me how he got off marijuana. Did I not?
Yeah, we literally just had this conversation maybe 2 hours ago.
And I think that this message from you, and I really thank you for this is just saying keep going, go stronger. For me, this is like a holy month because I'm really getting centered this month. And I really want to output more work and impact more lives. Not only directly through my own words and actions, but also through your change. Because if someone knew you and they saw you consuming marijuana and you went from being a lonely stoner to a boss and an owner, that's going to impact them. And so I want you all to go out and be an example. You dig, and holla peace to the saints so they know what it is. Thank you for sharing that good news. Zenaria, who always comes through, writes, peace to the saints. My question wasn't answered earlier today about reviews. I love the briefcase and would like to support you by leaving a review. Should we leave reviews on the Sasson website? Absolutely. We also have the backpack is purchasable on manandwomanbrand.com. I believe there are reviews there, but I'll have to look into that. And this month I will be working exceptionally hard. So do keep with me because reviews are important and we've sold so many of them. Now, the truth is this is a limited run. So once they sell out, we won't have any more. So at that point, I suppose the reviews won't necessarily be meaningful for that product, but it'll be good for the brand overall. I appreciate that. And you're really showing love because in community, you got to take care of one another. And I appreciate you taking out your time to do that because you don't have to do that. That's a favor to me and it does mean a lot. So thank you very much. Candon writes, same man, I feel great since I stopped smoking. It's such a powerful life improvement. And I've never smoked myself, but I've been around enough people who have. And even when you don't smoke, if you're not in good shape when you start exercising, your chest starts feeling like it's caving in. And I've definitely been in the same fit and I started engaging in rigorous activity. And you're doing something even better than quitting smoking. The level of exercise you're engaging in now, if you're really following our way, you're now becoming elite. You're becoming the best of men. When you walk around in this society, you'll look around and you'll know that these men are not like you. They're not cut from that cloth you are now of. They're not a bird of your feather. You're an eagle. They're a pigeon or a chicken. The super chat, Mitchell McCauley writes, peace to the saints. How does one create urgency to get things done? I am consistent in my actions, but I know that I could do more with my time. The way I do it is I think either about loss or gain, and I dramatize it in my mind. And another way to do it is put yourself in position around people who are truly A1 top level. One of the things that I do is, as you probably know, I'm always on the scene. So, for example, I was at the boxing match, Canelo versus Caleb Plant. We had great seats. You dig? If you follow the big homie on Instagram at Marquett Burton, you would have saw your boy was like, oh yeah, there's Dave Chappelle. Oh, there's 2 Chainz. Oh, there's David Blazarian or whatever the hell his name is. Like, oh, there's so-and-so. Oh, there's Rolly Romero. Oh, there's so-and-so. And shout out to Rolly. He did tag your boy on IG. I appreciate that. Shout out to the boxing community. But the point is, I'm sitting just a couple rows behind Dave Chappelle. You heard me? I'm on the scene in a real way. But here's the thing. It still has to dawn on you. I'm sitting a couple rows behind Dave Chappelle. I want to sit next to him. I want to sit next to Dave Chappelle. So the way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at everything that's ahead of me. And I want to get there. Now, here's the thing. There's 1,000 rows behind me. They going all the way up to the nosebleeds. Those people are irrelevant. I'm looking forward saying, how can I get next to Dave Chappelle? Now, when you got seats close enough to where I can film Dave Chappelle without zooming in, you got great seats. But I still have that ambition to where I say, who is Dave Chappelle to have better seats than the big homie? Huh? So I'm looking at the deficit there. I'm looking at the gap between he and I. Further, I ask myself, what is there to gain? How much do I have to earn to sit next to Dave Chappelle? Like, Dave got to be at least 50, 60 million strong, something crazy like that, with a lot of brand equity and more to gain. So, like, I really need to, keep hustling. And another way is when you stay on that scene and you stay inspired, bruh, you gonna have to, if you like me, you want to be on the level or you want to be better. Spoiler alert, Brandon came through. Been a minute since I caught a live. Backpack briefcase was immaculate. Had to give it that flossy Carter smell test. Peace to the saints. Oh, absolutely. And when you have those fine things, people at that level will see it and they will attract to you. They will ask you about it. And I assure you, if you're around people of wealth and they say, oh, that briefcase is fire. And you say, oh, yeah, this is handmade. Go ahead and touch it. And they're like, oh, this is high quality. Where'd you get it? There were only 300 made. And they're almost sold out. That's a beautiful feeling. It's called exclusive. Shout out to Brandon for supporting the work, and I'm glad that you are able to enjoy that piece of fine craftsmanship. I'm very proud of that product. Baller alert! He writes, thanks for the constant encouragement and motivation. Same blessings. Oh, and he got the charged up photo in the profile too. He getting his work in. And shout out to James Moore, because James Moore is getting his hustle on. That's why he can send through a real super chat. You dig? He's running VeraRoot, and I get marketing emails from them occasionally, which is great. I love to see it because I've been a part of that business. You did? If a saint runs a business, I feel like I'm a part of the business. I want you to be enriched. You heard me? I love to see it. I love to see you owning things that you can say are wholly yours. No one can take it from you. No one else can claim it as their own. Came from your mind, and it's grown because of your hard work. Shout out to James Moore. He's doing beautifully. I'm very proud of him, and I'm so thankful I got to be just a small side note in his journey, because part of the foundation of that, he did a consultation with me. And he was also at our last conference, so it's such an honor. And when you see his product in Whole Foods eventually, you see his product in all of these grocery stores, you get to say, damn, I heard about James Moore when he was a normal guy. Now he's a mogul, big time, you dig? So it's exciting to me, because when I see you guys, I could tell who's about to win, because I've been around winners. I know what the characteristics are. And I know he got his fundamentals strong. The brother is hustling. Shout out to him. Fueled by plants, right? I'm an online fitness coach trying to decide on a product. What's your opinion on programs/services or supplement products? A supplement product can be good. You might even want to talk to James Moore. That's kind of the vertical that he's in. And generally, food products I try to stay away from because they're regulated, which is to say the government is deeply involved and there are certain standards you have to abide by. And what's more, if someone gets sick or they think they got sick from your product, then you have a level of liability. So I like to personally stay away from food products. So if I'm starting from scratch and I can pick anything in the world, plant your seed in fertile soil. There are different qualities of soil. But if this is already what you do, you already have an idea for something and it's already partially developed, carry on. But me, I would not start there. But I will say the supplement game, if you're talking about powders and things like this, these are generally low cost to produce. They're great products, especially if you can differentiate by being a non-caffeine product, meaning you do pre-workout, there's no caffeine. Post-workout, there's no caffeine. Natural ingredients. I think you might have an advantage.
There's two more above that from a while ago.
Shout out to Devin Brown. He writes, peace to the saints. Big dog, when you drop in the audiobook for the Black Box? Sir, I've actually already dropped it, I guess. I failed at marketing. which is very common because I'm mostly trying to get this ism out, but I've actually already produced the audiobook of The Black Box. And I suppose I haven't marketed it a ton because I really do want people to read the book first, because there's a spiritual aspect when you read it on that text. But I do have the audiobook, and I'm going to link that for you right now. If you go to thesassin.com/products and just scroll down, you will see the Black Box audiobook. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in right now. How do I go about changing my mindset? I've noticed myself taking little things to heart or dwelling on them. Also, not being able to overcome my fears. How do I go about changing this? This is a critical question, that last one, the question of fear. I find that the only God people regularly submit to is fear. Fear is the God of most people. In fact, fear is the only reason people pray to any God. Oh God, just please save me. Oh God, please, let me get over this hangover. Oh God, bring her back. It's fear, fear, fear. They don't pray to God for pure reasons of, hey, I'm praying for goodness for my family. It's often fear. If you can overcome fear, you will be in advance of much of mankind. For human beings are scared animals. That's number one. But the question is, if you're overcoming fear, here's fear, you're getting over it, you're overcoming it. What is on the other side of fear that is more powerful than fear? You must identify a goal that lights you up and makes you burn, which is to say, it puts a fire under your feet to get your feet moving. That is what will drive you to the point where you say, I might be scared, I might be anxious and nervous, but I gotta get what's over there. I gotta get what's there for me. That's what's going to do it. So don't set goals that are set big goals that make you feel ambitious, make you stretch to achieve them. Shout out to Vibing Out. I believe this is the same who also got the backpack briefcase. He's in T-Dot. I actually just forwarded his message to Bridget because the Canadian government trying to tax people. Peace to the saints. Just hopped on the live session. I heard a great quote today that I'll share with you all. Quote, great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. Thoughts on this? I've heard a variation of this before, and this is true. You'll find that people, are often negative. They're deriding others, they're speaking jealousy, or they're being gossip-oriented. That's true. Says average minds discuss events, yes, the news, and great minds discuss ideas. I might even add on top of that, greater minds get to work. Greater minds take action. Discussion is cool, but let's get this work. You heard me? We can talk about boxing, or we can box. We can talk about building a product-based business, or we can plan and execute. So the greatest mind is the one that plans and executes. That's the highest level of that structure you had just shared with us. Peace of the saints. That's a very good spring that you provided us. I thank you for that.
I had a gentleman that was asking how to go about getting a consultation.
If you would like a consultation, you can go to www.marquettism.com. I'll put the link in the chat. It's also in the description. And from marquettism.com, you can just click schedule, and it'll actually allow you to pick a time that's convenient for you. It's quite a convenient thing. You can pick your time, pay your amount, and then boom, you're on the schedule. And I'm actually thinking about increasing the price again. So I would probably encourage you to get it done sooner than later. And the reason I was thinking about increasing the price is because it's too low. And it's just not worth it. Yeah, it's embarrassingly low. And yeah, it's just too low. It's just too low. So you should probably try sooner than later because you're still getting love on the pricing. Anyways, thank you for sharing that question. Another thing I want to touch on briefly is your associations and your friends. You must make sure that you are not afraid to grow beyond the people you're currently around. And I'll get into that deeply in a second. Cesar writes, where did you go for your mariachi suit? Well, I went to the only place you can really go for a mariachi suit, Mexico. I was actually in La Ciudad. So I was in Mexico, and I'll give you the backstory because I find it to be entertaining.
as I often remind you guys, you want to be around bosses. So I'm out in Mexico. I'm at this plaza in Mexico City. This was during the height of the pandemic when everyone was really paranoid. So I'm in Mexico City and I'm eating outdoor at this very nice restaurant. And so they have all of the dinner tables facing the plaza, and you can kind of see people going on about their affairs. And there's a ton of mariachi there. And they're singing and playing their music. And what they'll do is they'll walk up to the edge of the restaurant and you can hire them to sing your favorite songs. So a lot of the cartel bosses, you know, the real big time players in Mexico who are papered up, they'll all gather here because they're men of leisure. They have all this wealth, they're men of leisure. So they'll be there and they'll be paying these mariachi to sing for them. And the big bosses, they'll be like hiring like a whole bunch of different bands to come together to play the same song. And so really the way you like floss on each other is whoever hires the highest number of mariachis and keeps them playing for the longest amount of time, you the big homie. And so they're out there outdoing each other. They got 10 mariachi. One guy has 20, another one has 30 mariachi. They're all playing songs and they're competing with each other. Now these are all actually Mexican gangsters. And I'm a random black guy, but I like to get in the mix. So I'm talking to the waiter and I'm saying, hey man, like hire me some mariachi. Go get about 50 of them. I need them all. He said, 50? Like he's asking me in Spanish, trying to make sure I understand what I said. I was like, yeah, 50. I was like, 60, 50, ¿sí? No? 60. So I was like, yeah, give me 50 of them. He was like, okay. So he goes over, he rounds them all up, brings them all over. And then they're looking at me like, well, what are we playing? I don't know any mariachi songs. So I tell the waiter, tell them what to play. So then they start cranking up their playing, and then the cartels are looking at me like, who is this guy? This guy is balled out. He's trying to go at us, so they're hiring more. Now the cartel guys are messing with me like, this dude is a random black American, but he's cool with us. He's trying to get in our game. They hire mariachis, I'm hiring mariachis. But then there's this one mariachi that came over. Homie showed up in a champagne pink mariachi suit with the silver trim. You heard me? The silver floral stitching, champagne pink with the hat, the whole nine. I was like, oh, that was gorgeous. I was like, that's playerism right there. I turned to my shorty. I was like, look, that right there, I need that. You're done eating. Just go figure out how I can get that. We got to leave tomorrow. Figure out how I can get it today. She got up, got to work. She came back. She was like, I got 4-5 places we can go visit right now. I'm going to schedule the Uber. Let's go. Boom. We leave, pull up to the mariachi spot. I tell homie, I need you to whip me up one from scratch. No belt loops because we don't get out like that. I'm not wearing one of them big old belts because I'm not Mexican. I respect the culture, but I am African American. You can keep the belt and keep the hat. I'll take the rest. So he went ahead and whipped one up from scratch right then and there. I came back in about 2 hours. They fitted me, came back again. They fitted me again, came back a third time. We were done. I love big dog stuff. You heard me? I love it. Like you just got 5 tables of ballers and like 200 mariachis over here trying to out-sing each other. I mean, it was just madness. You heard me? Mexican hoes walking by like, who's over here? Like the Mexican hoes trying to peek and see like, who did hire 50 mariachis? A black guy? What is he even doing in here? It's a pandemic. Who let him in here? You feel me? So it's just big boss talk. It's like in their culture, what we were doing is comparable to maybe in the African American culture in LA on Crenshaw Boulevard. You pull up in your Lolo, you pull up in whatever crazy car you got the hydraulics hopping, you got the Hunter spokes spinning, you know, or if you in Texas, you know, however you guys pull up, it was kind of comparable to that. So it was a fun thing. And that is why I always tell you guys to get your hustle on. You feel me? Because I talk to people who are mentally on such a low level. A young lady told me this. She said, I just want to be able to go in a grocery store and buy whatever groceries I want. I was like, that's a low goal. Like, no disrespect. Like, that's a beautiful thing to be able to buy whatever groceries you want. But I'm trying to go in the grocery store and buy groceries for everybody for fun. You feel me? Like, I'm trying to be like, yo, what were you about to buy? Yeah, just hey, put that on my tab. Like, I'm trying to be off of that. I want groceries for me and everybody in the store for fun. You feel me? For fun. So it's like you think on different levels. And the reason that I show you guys these things is because I want you to get on this level. You heard me? Because imagination is what starts it. When I tell you to focus intently on your goal, you're not going to focus on the goal if you don't imagine it's possible. Let's be real here. Just at a minimum level, before you go to bed, that's you writing your to-do list of priorities. so that you wake up with purpose, because we shouldn't all wake up. There's a lot of people who should go to sleep and never wake up. You should ask yourself before you go to bed, what am I going to add to the planet Earth other than breathing up all this good air and using all these resources that others could use? Why should I be on this earth? What do I have to achieve tomorrow? What is my contribution to myself and to good people tomorrow? And you will write that down before you go to bed. You will wake up, that will have marinated in the subconscious. You might reshuffle that list. You might remove some things from that list. But when you wake up, you're like, this is my day. This is what my day is about. And I've put these things in order. And I've removed the things that don't add up to my big goals in the area of health, wealth, and finances. Wait, excuse me, health? No, I'm sorry, wealth is finances. Health, relationships, and finances. So that's how I manage that to-do list or that journaling process. Eric writes, do you recommend a product-based business over a software or technology-based business? Well, most software businesses are product-based businesses. The software is the product, and that's where I started my career. So I do recommend that. And even when they say software as a service, it's actually not a service in the traditional sense of a person who mows a lawn or cleans rooms. It's a service in the sense of they're able to recharge you for the same product. So when they say software as a service, that just means they're recharging you for the same product. It's they call that a misnomer? Yes. Okay. Looks like we're caught up there. Let's see what other questions may have come through on PayPal. And also you can see your questions through PayPal or Cash App. We are checking them. Arvin writes, peace to the saints. The bag, watch, gold yellow sneakers, Sasson armband shirt are all elegant and beautifully crafted. I really appreciate that. And what a lot of people don't know about our products is I never put out a product to make money. I've never one time put out a product to make money. Every single product you see me putting out, I use it. I created the product because I wanted it. And if I wanted it high quality. Oh yeah, and I do need to talk about that. And if I wanted it, I want it to be high quality. Brown writes, quote, the way you go to sleep is the way you wake up. Get locked in before you hit the hay. I like that quotation because it reminds me of a saying that a P has, which is the way you start with a female is the way you end with a female. And this all goes back to discipline and consistency, which is to say, who you are at the beginning is who you are at the ending. We don't change, right? So consistency is going to follow you around. Some of us are being consistent, but it's consistent in our bad habits. You must be focused in being consistent in showing merit. So I agree with the saint when he writes, the way you go to sleep is the way you wake up. This is a true story. And I like to go to sleep with a smile on my face, thinking of great things, thinking of the things I want to achieve tomorrow. And I like to wake up the same way. It's a really good point. And it makes it easier to wake up when you wake up with purpose. Like, oh, I know what I'm going to do today. I know what today's about. And shout out to Aaron also. He's one of the wise men. He bought his consultations in a set. So some people do 6 months or a year. So I think he did the 6 month, which gives you a discount. I forget what the percentage is, 10, 15, 20%. It's like different amount for different lengths. And that was smart of him because the price is always increasing. So when you lock it in for 6 months or a year, you lock in the relationship. But most importantly, you lock in your rate. And when you're buying things in bulk or you're buying things over time, you always want to lock in the price because prices always go up. When I was a kid, a Whopper, I kid you not, a Whopper used to be 99 cents. A can of soda used to be 25 cents. Go find a can of soda for 25 cents now. I don't drink soda, obviously, but I still know the prices. CK writes, peace to the saints, visionary Patreon member. Shout out. These are the saints who really mess with this ism. You dig? They're supporting the work and the community. He writes, wanted to show more love. I appreciate that. Wanted to ask general tips for balancing focusing on the present work while planning ahead and staying organized. Sometimes you don't need to be balanced. If you're hyper focused on the work at hand today, that's great. There's nothing wrong with getting absorbed or even getting obsessed if you're absorbed and obsessed with the right thing. One of the reasons I enjoy boxing is because unlike all of the other things in life, where, you know, I could text message and talk at the same time. I could even have a phone call and get brain at the same time. Like, you can do a lot of things at the same time, or at least do them at low quality. But when someone is trying to throw a punch that's gonna turn your lights out, they have your full attention. When I'm boxing and I'm fighting another grown man in top condition who's trained to try to knock me out, I'm so focused, and that's a beautiful moment. And then I try to apply that same level of focus to everything else. Because here's the thing, if you've already defined the plan before you act, and the master Sun Tzu writes, victory is to he who is superior in pre-engagement calculations, meaning you've laid a plan before you started acting. You've made a plan before you got to work. So if you laid the plan out, when you start working, you should be intense about the work. Not thinking of the plan or not thinking of the next step, thinking about this step, making sure that this step is a masterful step. Which is to say, it's not practice makes perfect. That's only true if you perfect your practice, which is to say, be intense about what you're doing and do it correctly.
Alex Lopez looks like he sent some tuition in.
Shout out to Alex Lopez. That's love. He said, I just want to support the work. Appreciate it, Saint. Shout out to Craig. He writes, what's the best place to get t-shirts made? And is drop shipping worth it, or should I pack and ship myself? This is a very common question that I get, and because it's common, I've actually made a whole video answering this question. Both of the questions you asked, which is drop shipping worth it, and should I pack and ship myself? These are meaningful questions. There is conference 2 footage, which I'll find a link for you. So you could either go to marquettism.com and buy just the conference 2 footage, or you can go to thesassin.com and buy conference 1 and 2 footage. And on conference 2, there's a lecture that talks about product development, and it also talks about the realities of drop shipping. I highly recommend you watch it. A lot of guys will watch that and they'll get very clear in their understanding, and then they'll say, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it. Let me go ahead and schedule a consultation with Marquett. I'm ready now. Because that conference 2 footage, in addition to answering those questions, it also tells you how to identify a product to sell, which is an art. You know, some people don't just think of a product. Some people pick one that already exists, or they differentiate a product, and that conference 2 footage will teach you about how to do that. So that's a good question. Now you're asking what's the best place to get t-shirts made? You need a little bit more context. Made for what? Made for your personal use, made for selling to people, made for you to have and sell in person, made for you to ship to people. There's a lot of answers to that question, and I would like to give you an answer that's specific to what you want to achieve. Shout out to RG, he writes, peace to the saints. Hey Marquette, how would I go about improving my communication skills? I admire the way you speak. I appreciate that. And I often steer people away from that because I don't think communication has been the major factor in my success. The major factor in my success is being hyper-focused, being intense about what I want, and being ambitious about getting it, which is to say, I'm willing to knock on the door, I'm willing to call you twice, I'm willing to double text you, I'm willing to be a pestilence, I'm willing to make my name known, I'm willing to be embarrassed, I'm willing to take risks and to endure fear. Being a good communicator hasn't gotten the job done. In fact, sometimes people will be suspicious of you because you speak too well. Like, this guy's really persuasive. I don't know if he's trying to trick me or what. So communication is not the key to success. Communication doesn't get you paid most of the time. Delivering the goods gets you paid, which is about being consistent. So I would highly recommend that you focus on that. And I know you're probably thinking, Marquette, you didn't tell me how to improve my communication, which is what I asked you, but my hope is that behind that question is the idea of succeeding, whether it's with women or financially or otherwise. And communication is not the key to any of those things. Communication is the shiny veneer of things. But underneath that speech that Martin Luther King gave was the hard work of the civil rights organizations. It's always the activities, not the talking, that gets it done, you know, the walking. So what I'm saying is, get the walk down, Saint. I do appreciate the compliment. Some short notes for you is, 1, I do write poetry, I do read poetry, I do listen to the speeches of other great orators like Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King, Adolf Hitler, these kinds of individuals who are well renowned for their speaking. You tough. You forgot your you didn't have the one you usually have. Okay, I didn't finish reading this one. So the one from Arvin, he writes, oh no, okay. We all appreciate the gems you drop. Looking forward to doing my first consultation with you very soon. Well, thank you. I look forward to it as well, Saint. Absolutely. And I also look forward to the Saints will be at the conference. I also have not really marketed this, but the conference will be coming up in April. And I did put the dates in an old community post, and I forget what the price is. I think it's $5.99. And I'm keeping this one small because I want to be able to shake everyone's hand. The last conference was very big, so I didn't get to spend personal time with people, and that's very important to me. It'd be more profitable. I'd make money having a lot of people, but I want to get to know people, and I want to hear about why they showed up and hear about what they're working on in their life, because that matters to me. And I also like seeing the same people. Not that I don't want to get to know people, but there's a special feeling when it's like the conference is almost like a home, where people get to come back every year. And I think that's dope. And eventually I want to open it up to, being able to bring your spouse or, your family or whoever. It'll be dope. But yeah, I'll have to re-announce those tickets at some point. So I kind of announced that on the low. Shout out to Javier. He writes, tuition, also enjoyed that debate. Oh, bruh. I'm always impressed when people are even willing to debate. And the crazy thing about that lady who came on to debate, she was a brave soul because, well, she got bodied once and then said, I want to do it again. And I'm bringing all of my butt buddies and I'm bringing my beta males with me. Marquett, kill us all off. And indeed, I did catch 4 bodies. And I know it looked effortless, but let us not fail to give the credit. It was a 1-on-4. Who wins that fight, right? Shout out to Brandon. He sent through the Cash App for the watch. So I'm going to forward this to the appropriate people so that we can get this set up and shipped.
Damn. Thanks, Brandon.
Right? Shout out to Brandon. He's about to be big bossing.
He just stole my watch.
And to the people who do wear watches, and I think watches are a meaningful symbol, especially for businessmen. But you can't just have a gold watch or you can't just have a silver or platinum watch. You have to have, in my opinion, you got to have both unless your skin doesn't go with it, right? Like if some people may be very pale and so your skin might not necessarily look good with certain metals. But me, I'm a big believer. You want to have both so when you change up the swag, you're matching. That's just me. Okay. Let me get back to these PayPal. So appreciate that, Brandon. Can't wait to get that out to you. And these are great conversations too, by the way. I relish when I'm out in the world and someone says, oh man, that's a nice watch. What kind of watch is that? Well, this watch was handmade, right? You get to tell that story. It's a great story. This watch was handmade. And in your case, Brandon, there's only 2 of them. Like this watch was handmade and there's only 2. And one of the unique things we do with this watch, just so people can see, like, yes, it's different. This is handmade. He's not BSing. There's no seconds hand. You'll never find an analog watch that does not have a seconds hand because it's standard in the industry. But we remove the seconds hand because you're not timing anything that requires seconds. And we also wanted to be able to show people that this is a handmade watch and we made it a little bit differently just so that it's handmade. So that's one of the little things we threw in there. It's the details for me. It's the details. Right. Shout out to Fire Ronin. He writes, do you always operate businesses remotely from a hotel or do you have headquarters/homes elsewhere? Well, I was just actually talking with Sarah about this earlier today, which was funny. I don't know how long ago was that? Was that last week? About a week ago? Yeah, so just last week, I had the presidential suite at one particular resort, which is a 2-bedroom suite. And it was pretty big, beautiful view. It was very nice, brand new hotel. And I didn't even sleep there. So I didn't even lay down my head. I didn't even spend 10 minutes there.
Dueling suites.
Yeah.
And then never even...
Oh yeah, I think I had 3 suites at that time. Yeah. So I pretty much just walked in, took a look at it. It's like, wow, this is really cool, and left.
You like to work there, but you tend not to sleep there. You do have a home base.
Right. I work there. I don't sleep there. I like to sleep at home. And my home is fairly Spartan. No embellishments, no art on the wall, except there's one piece of art that a saint made. You know, one of the saints is a great artist and a real genius. And so one of our mutual friends, who's also a saint, was like, hey, you know, you should support his work. And I was like, you're right. Now, I don't buy art, which is why it hadn't naturally dawned on me. I was like, you're right. So I bought his piece. So he's the only art that's up. Otherwise, there's just plaques from the awards that my Rolls Royce won, which I still need to take care of that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's just plaques from my Rolls Royce awards, and then there's that piece of art. And it's a very basic living accommodations. So I work in these places because I like luxury. And then I sleep in Spartan accommodations that are uncomfortable so that when I wake up, it's easy to get out of the bed because the bed's not even that comfortable. Thank you for your question. CJ writes, communication with action. Words are just the cherry on top. Indeed. Matthew writes, peace to the saints. Peace to the saints. True indeed. But yeah, you know, the funny thing is I actually really enjoy a bath, and you would think I would spend more time at these places and take some baths here. But that too, I kind of haven't sat still long enough to do that. And in this month, which I am declaring a holy month, because this is hustle mania, you dig? Your boy's about to hustle like he's never hustled before. I'm waking up earlier than I've ever woke up. I'm getting my workouts in earlier than they've ever been done. And so I'm really firing higher on all levels than I've ever fired. So it'll be an exciting month. And so I will make changes. And one thing I want to let you guys know that I frequently do, even when I'm driving to the boxing gym, for example, every now and then I'll just take a different route. Might be a longer route, just because I want to see different things on the way there. I want to have a different feeling on the way there. The nature of the world is change. If you can't adjust to change, you will lose. Further, you should also engage in change so that you can keep life exciting for yourself. So that's really a strategy that I do encourage. Make sure we're caught up. Okay, we're caught up on the PayPal Cash App. Saints, we are winding down, so if you have any last questions, go ahead and throw them in. And I do also want to share some love for the two haters who hit the dislike. I want you to know that you too I appreciate, and I want all of the saints to understand my mentality, which is to say that you cannot have winners without having losers. You can't have the top without having the bottom. So when we encounter these haters who are at the bottom, we have to be thankful because we got to stand on somebody's head to reach that top. You heard me? And they're there and they're letting you stand on their head and they're doing a good service for you. You should be thankful for them. So I want to thank you to the haters who are there because you're appreciated. You know, you are appreciated because you do serve a purpose. I can't win without you losing. You heard me? So it's a beautiful thing. And that's what mindset is about. When you can be thankful for the love, you can be thankful for the hate, you can be thankful for reality. You take it all in, breathe it in, and accept it for what it is. You don't struggle with it. Even when you watch back my debate, the first debate with Kenya, you'll notice the difference is she was getting angry and stirred. And the Master Sun Tzu states, you should stir without being stirred. And I was stirring her, but she was not able to stir me. I was just accepting reality for what it is and appreciating every aspect of reality. There was a third dislike that it appeared and
then disappeared.
Well, shout out to them. That's a good thing because to me, even if I watch a video and I dislike it, I don't even click the dislike because it doesn't feel good to me to do that to someone. It doesn't feel good to me because in clicking the dislike, I said, well, what did I gain from that? I didn't gain anything. So I would never use my energy to try to do a disservice to someone else if I'm not even gaining anything. That's strange. And also, these people are not my enemy. And so if I have an enemy, yeah, I treat them like an enemy. But if not, I don't make enemies of people who are not. Derek writes, what are your challenges? What are you currently struggling with? If the answer is nothing, how are you working on becoming the version of yourself right now? My biggest challenge has been having a regular sleep schedule. After many years of hustling and running corporations in different time zones with many offices, flying here and there, and just really living a James Bond lifestyle, your sleep schedule ends up being very peculiar and erratic. God damn. I'm sorry. I'm still on the surround sound, so my phone is like ringing through the whole goddamn building. I apologize for that. But anyways, so my biggest challenge is getting my sleep schedule together. So that is my hyper focus now. And for me, it's about scheduling my meetings to start very early and then doing a workout immediately after my first meeting. So that's what I've been working on. That's my biggest challenge. And the reason it's a huge challenge is the challenge of sleep is because you will not focus at peak, or you will not focus and you will not function at peak when you are drowsy. Now, granted, I require less sleep than most people, but the truth is you're not going to be at peak, and even worse, it will mess with your emotions. You won't have the right emotions that you want. You won't have the drive and the tenacity. So I'm focusing on sleep, and truth is, I even want the people around me to be getting better sleep as well, because I want them sharp. You know, and I'm not going to name any names or point any fingers, but there was an individual that just this, maybe it was last night or this morning, I don't recall, but I was telling him, I was like, nah, let's not work these hours. You're not going to be sharp. And that's because I do want them rested. You know, I value them working well, but I also value them being rested over the long term, because this stuff adds up. Don't ever think things don't add up. That's why I say success is the accumulation of you doing the right things, just as failure is the accumulation of you doing the wrong things. And a lack of sleep accumulates, and being well rested accumulates, and it will manifest itself in good or ill. It is your decision. Thank you for asking that question, Saint. I appreciate that.
Seems like I finished my water.
Got another question. The Saint writes, I appreciate you, Marquett. I plan to save up so I can book a consultation with you. Please continue to drop these gems. I appreciate that. I shall. Jamie writes, how do you feel about the mandates?
Oh, God.
I'm not a fan. Every bit of me, of my being, is telling me not to fold, but I'm not in a position financially to go without a job for you. Number one, where there is a will, there is a way. So if it's really that important to you, find the way. Full stop. If it's that important to you, find the way. If it's not that important to you, then do what is expedient. But you mentioned a good point, or excuse me, a meaningful point, which is that you will be empowered through your finances. And that is why I tell the saints, let us support one another, because if I was running a business and I hired saints in the business, I don't care what mandate Joseph Biden has put forward, I'm not enforcing that on you all. And that is why I tell you, spend your money with those who love you. Show love to those who show love to you. So if you were hired within a business run by the assassin, you wouldn't have to deal with that. That's the importance of what we're building. A place where you can have freedom, a place where you can live with integrity, you can live in a natural way, not under the wicked law of evil people. I appreciate you sharing that with us, and that's why I do encourage entrepreneurship, and I teach it, and I practice it. Dogmatic writes, my life's great right now, except for women. It's a slow season. How to stay persistent? Oh, you're going to stay persistent. I don't think persistent is your issue. I think creativity and execution is probably your issue. Creativity meaning to do things differently, because whatever you're doing now is obviously not working. Creativity and persistence. Persistence because persistence overcomes resistance, whether it's with one individual female, staying in the game with her, or whether it's with the pursuit in general. And one thing I'd actually wrote down to say to the saints was that things take time. When you stay persistent with anything, if you keep banging at it, it will fall. So carry on confidently. Let's check out Peggy Hall. Yes, one of the saints mentions religious exemption. I do have a saint who did a consultation with me, and he did successfully get a religious exemption for university. You do want to make sure you pick the correct religion, and you can be successful with that. I don't even know where the water is here. Can we find some water? Shout out to Harry. I'll walk with you. Oh yeah, will that stay on me if you set it there?
I don't know.
That's brilliant. We could have did that the whole time, low key.
Right.
Shout out to Harry. He writes, I started a service business and I'm in full time. It's been a slow start. Any advice on growing it, or should I put my efforts into a product-based business? Well, Harry, business is a serious sport. I would be not honoring you to give you a recommendation without having much context on your business. So let us say this. Either A, you get that. I don't even think the conference 2 footage is going to serve you really well, because you have a business that's currently operating. This is my true recommendation to you. And please, if you know me, you know I would never recommend something to you to get paid. I recommend it to you because I want you to get the right outcome. Which is to say, if you really want my advice on your business, we need to talk details about your business. I don't know the industry. I don't know your current cash flow. I don't know if you're in a dying industry like the newspaper industry. I don't know if you're in a growing industry like electric cars, or new forms of insurance for self-driving cars, or things like that. So I don't know really enough about your business to give you an intelligent answer. And what you're going to find is that when you deal with people with integrity, they don't make up things to make you feel better, or they don't make up things to make you feel like you got your money's worth. If they don't have the answer, they tell you. If you go to a heart surgeon and you have problems with your lungs, he's going to recommend you a respiratory specialist. And so what I'm telling you is that I may have the solution for you, but you've not given me enough information. So you probably might want to book a consultation, and then we can really dig into what your business is and figure out how it can thrive, or if you need to get out of that business. And I know a lot about getting out of businesses because I've ran many businesses into the ground. And some of them I rode into the ground for too long. I should have gotten out more quickly. And other businesses, I should have just made a few tweaks, because this might sound strange, but most people for the first 5 years don't know what business they're in. For example, say you opened up the first McDonald's restaurant ever. You thought you were in the hamburger business. You're not in the hamburger business, because McDonald's hamburgers suck. You're in the fast hamburger business. If you can make your hamburgers fast and cheaply, then you win. So you're in the business of cheap, fast hamburgers, not delicious hamburgers, not fulfilling hamburgers, not healthy hamburgers. And it takes time and know-how to figure out what business you're in. And that is why you get a consultation with people who have done enough business so that they can give you some game. So for example, a guy like me, well, I'm in the jewelry game, I'm in the hat game, I'm in the merchandise game, I'm in the boxing shoe game, I'm in the software game, I'm in the technology hardware game, I'm in the luxury item game, backpack, briefcases, fine leathers, and I can go on and on. So that's a good guy to talk to about your business, because I got enough experience. And here's the thing, if we get to the limits of my experience, I'll say, you need to talk to so-and-so. But the truth is, anytime you're talking business, business is by the numbers. We need to figure out what your numbers look like. Shout out to King Supreme, baller alert. He writes, I'm the one always helping people turn their skills into a business. That's very good. But I lack the confidence to create my own way. Well, shout out to you for being honest with yourself. And you're wondering, like, Marquett, why are you drinking so much water? I went to the gym and I didn't properly rehydrate. It's critical that you nourish yourself in the right ways. 3 Sins Bible, be yourself, be good to yourself, be good to good people. I wasn't good to myself. I didn't properly rehydrate. He writes, I lack the confidence to create my own way. Well, let me challenge you here, Saint. Sometimes we think we're supposed to be the number one when we're a great number 2. Consider this. You could be the founder of Tesla. That's pretty good. Being Elon Musk, that's pretty good. You'd be the founder of Apple. Being Steve Jobs, pretty good. But there's another guy named Steve Wozniak, I believe is his name. He was the number 2 guy at Apple. He's very wealthy, very wealthy. And he probably doesn't have to deal with paparazzi either. And I'm sure there was a new number 2 guy at Tesla. He's also probably very wealthy, which is to say that not everyone is the number 1 guy. Not everyone is the brave entrepreneur. You know, some guys that I've had consultations with, like Brandon Valera, I give them an idea, they run with it, they make it a great business. Other guys, I might give them an idea or give them a process and they master the process and they're like, you know, I'm not necessarily an entrepreneur, but this part of the business that I'm doing right now, I'm really good at this. This is what I want to do. That's called a CFO. Might be, or a CTO, Chief Technology Officer. You just do the tech, or you just do the finances, or you just do the operations. So you don't have to be a number 1 guy. You can be a number 2 guy, which is to say you might found a business with someone, you co-found it, they're the CEO, you're the COO, Chief Operations Officer. So that's something to think about. You write, how do I get the confidence I need to launch my own business? Well, 1, I'm cautioning you might not need to. You might launch it with someone else and you might be the number 2 guy. Make sure the number 1 guy is honest and has integrity and a lot of hustle. But if you really think that you're the guy who can deliver the goods, and you very well may be that guy, then you need to start getting practice. No one steps into a boxing ring feeling like Mike Tyson in his prime. You got to build up to that. Even Mike Tyson in his prime didn't start there. He actually started as a very scared, pensive boy, and he grew into an elite fighter. So that's why when I do consultations with people, I'll often say, okay, now let's work on a product. I got my product, that is mine. I will let you work on it. I'll pay for the sample, which is the expensive part, and we'll go through the whole process together so you can build up the confidence and experience, because it takes experience to be confident. There's nobody who steps in a boxing ring and they can take shots confidently the first time. First time people are throwing shots, you're like, oh, God, like you're panicking, you breathing funny, you getting tight and tensed up because you're not used to it. Same thing with business. C'est la vie. Jamie Smith writes, peace to the saints, peace to the saints. Excuse me. It's disheartening to see how easily the left has seized control. Indeed. I believe in the NWO. I believe this stands for New World Order. And sadly see they are getting everything they want. Well, Jamie, as I said, winners must be thankful for losers. And for evil to triumph, that means that good has gone to sleep. And every time I see a protest against the mandates or against this pestilence and the way the government's reacting to it, I always ask myself, why am I not out there? Why didn't I hear about this? What am I doing to things that matter to me, right? And I always try to do something. So, for example, you talked about the left. Well, the left, this hat is antithetical to the left and what they stand for. So I said, okay, the Skittle folks have some of the best marketing on earth. They've taken over the rainbow itself, which is a natural phenomena. They've taken it over, which is an amazing thing because the rainbow is beautiful. But I said, well, that's their flag. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're fighting for their cause. But my cause, what is the flag of my cause? And that's why we created Man and Woman. And that's why you have www.manandwomanbrand.com, where you can wear your flag of what you represent and then begin putting your feet into the cement to leave your mark in the right direction and leave your feet in the cement so that others can walk down that path. But talking about it won't get the job done. And that's why we're building the Assassin. And I always appreciate those who support the movement and also who are really full-fledged in it and help us, take those steps, like the guys who show up to conferences. The people who send through super chats, all this stuff matters, because when you look at my IG or you look at my community tab and you see me post up an infographic that explains to you the rights guaranteed of women, the respect that a woman should get, that she should not ever be victim of the man who should be protecting her, or you see me describe the natural progression of a boy into a man and what points you should check off in your journey of personal development, and I do the same thing for a female, it takes me time to think about that. It takes me time to fabricate that image, and I do all that myself. I edit all my videos. I have to record all my videos. So I appreciate people who support that work because it is work and it does take time. And they are as much a part of the movement as I am, but that's not all that can be done. And shout out to Joshua Jampron, who for a long time managed our TikTok. That helps us get our message out. because step one starts with education. And once people are really imbrued in this ism, you heard me, they develop themselves and then they're able to offer something to others. And that's when we really move along the line. Thank you for that note. Shout out to BBE, the movement. Sends through tuition. Appreciate it. Shout out to Raleigh. He writes, peace to the Saints. Beautiful timepiece. I appreciate that, Saints. Thank you very much. Looking forward to its launch. I'm not sure we're launching this. There's some things that like I make it and I'm like, this is raw. Like I don't even know if I'm launching it. Because as I told you, I don't launch anything for the money. If I was launching things for the money, those velvet shirts would be already out because people want them bad. They'd already be out. I'm over here like, I don't know if we can spread the velvet pimping around the earth like that. I don't know. So I'm not sure I'm gonna launch it, but when I do launch things, as you know, it's always limited runs. So if I launch it, you better get it quick. You heard me? Because just like this one of two, it's already sold. It's gone now. So if you're watching this video on replay or live right now, it's gone. You was too late.
Oh, low battery. Phone's dying.
Low battery. Y'all better get them questions in. We got to go. When the stream dies, it's over. That's because the phone died. So if you got some questions, throw them in because we're winding down. Well, all right, Saints, looks like everyone's gotten their question in. Let us end this the way we always end this, with the Creed of Assassin. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you. The Creed of the Assassin. I am going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable.
I'm going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable.
And I am going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am.
And I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am.
That is a beautiful declaration you have made. I will keep an eye out for this behavior. Yes, this is good. I'm happy to hear that. Well, Saints, it has truly been a pleasure. Looks like we had I'm going to acknowledge the super chat. The Bigger Picture wrote, what are your thoughts on crypto? Thank you for asking that. As you know, my background is in software technology, so I was aware of crypto in the fairly early stages of it. And I think that most things that you can get in on early can be very profitable, and crypto is one of those things. However, I think the popularity among the general population is due to people trying to make a quick dollar, and most people are actually losing money on crypto, as it is a form of gambling at this stage. And I don't think it'll be a legitimate source of income for anyone, unless the people, you're talking about the whales, like Elon Musk, these guys who can shift their money around and make money on arbitrage. So I wouldn't recommend it as a source of income. He writes, I put in 8K earlier this year. Now it's worth 30K. That's a good win. I work 9 to 5 and there's no way I'd be able to earn this much. That's not true. See, that's why I always challenge you guys. Question your assumptions. When I was a kid, if someone told me I'd be sitting in a suite that has a pool table, have you ever been in a hotel room that has a pool table and then it has an exercise machine in there? And then it has a theater room, like a whole, like this is the living room, and then it has a movie theater room with karaoke. That doesn't make any logical sense that someone coming from where I came from would ever achieve that. And also think so little of it that I'm not even gonna sleep here. Which is to say that imagination is key. When you say you can't make 30K at a 9 to 5, that's ludicrous. That's not true on any level. I know that because you could easily get a 9 to 5, which is a salaried position or an hourly position, and you could make $1,000 an hour. There are people who make $1,000 an hour. There are people who make well over $1,000 an hour. So you have to think correctly. Maybe in your locality that might not be true, but there's a lot of people doing that. You might not know them personally, but I just want to open up your imagination. That's why I show you guys these things so that you know it's real. You're dealing with not knowing reality. You can make 30K in a 9 to 5 because $30K, maybe I know for you right now might be a lot of money, but Sarah, you've seen me at $30K in cash. That's not a lot of money.
No.
And I don't say that to be disrespectful. I say that to be encouraging, which is to say you made a good hit. 8K to 30K is beautiful, but don't limit your mind. You can do more than that. Daniel writes, Marquett, peace to the saints. How do I avoid the vaccine? Need to travel out of the country, but I'm not sure how to avoid it. I haven't been out of the country in maybe a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. Maybe a month and a half, maybe not 2 months yet. But I was able to get the COVID-19 tests. I was able to get the COVID-19 tests to validate that I was good to go. There are a lot of countries that if you have a test that's taken recently, you're good to go.
I heard they just opened the travel ban.
And Sarah just heard the travel ban was lifted. I don't know. But
Might want to look
I
it up.
plan to travel internationally, and I don't plan to get that thing that you mentioned. King Supreme comes through again with a baller alert. Rich Saints in the building, you dig? Wealth is a mindset. He writes, I'm getting AWS certs to help small businesses go onto the cloud so they can survive the new normal. I'm still new to tech, and I feel I don't know enough, but have friends with no experience creating apps. Okay. Well, I feel like, one, it's ironic because Daniel Nwosu is actually kind of in the space that you're in, so he might be a good person to network with, truth be told, because he actually trains people in this space. And also another one of the Saints who's here in Las Vegas is training military guys, former military vets, or actually guys who are still enlisted as well, on how to get this money in the software game. So there's a lot that can be done. Network is key, but if you're already getting an AWS cert, you really don't want to start anything before you know what the outcome is. So what I'm saying is, the Master Sun Tzu notes, know the end before you begin, which is to say, can you really run a chess strategy without knowing how you're going to checkmate the person? Otherwise, you're just moving around the pieces to no eventual outcome. You got to have a plan. So if you're going to get an AWS cert, your number one question to yourself should have been, well, how much does that pay? What job does that connect to? What's the annual salary? What are the opportunities for advancement? What kind of corporations can I work at? Can I work remotely? These are all questions you want to answer for yourself, Saint. So I would encourage you to get a conversation with somebody who is in the trade area. By trade, I mean they're giving education that leads to vocations, it leads to gainful employment, and ask them, well, hey, what does this kind of job pay? What are the rates of hire? Meaning, if I get this certification, people like me coming out of your educational program, what percentage of them get jobs within 6 months? There's an industry standard measure. And they should be able to tell you. And then I might even ask to talk to some of those guys, like, hey, what was your interview process like? Did they help you in that process? Those are things that'll be helpful to you, Saint. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to use your time and money on a course that doesn't turn into more money. That would be a bad investment. Daniel writes, correction, Marquette, my apologies, autocorrect, understandable. He writes, was typing too fast. And I appreciate you correcting that, Saint, because there are people who purport to have watched my content for years and they still consistently spell my name wrong. I think it angers Bridget more than it angers me, but it is comical and it is certainly out of line with our way, which is that we are not average people. We do things with excellence. It's like, do it or don't do it. If you're gonna do it right, or don't do it. Most things that are average, you shouldn't even do. Like, don't even waste your time doing average things. It's not worth it. It's not worthy of you. So pay attention to details. I promise you, details will always put you in advance of other people. Okay, let me make sure that you've acknowledged everyone. Okay, at least we're all caught up. Saints, it's been absolutely a pleasure being here with you. And I want you to know, anytime that I have to talk sternly or share something that's maybe unpleasant or not quite what you wanted to hear, it's because I want you to get the truth. I don't want to say what you want to hear. I want you to have the truth, because only the truth can allow you to move forward. King writes, I work for Fannie. I'm assuming, I think I know what you meant with those 3 stars. Gotcha, I won't say the whole name.
Right.
And my certs keep my career here, understandable. And that category of work is very reliable, so that's a good thing. But I want to use it to make my own business. Understandable. You definitely are going to want to talk to Daniel Nwosu, no doubt about it. I make upper 80s. That's good. That's enough money for you to put a little bit away to invest. But I work 80-hour weeks on call. That's not the way. That's not the way. You need time to think. You need time to rest. I want out of the rat race. You're for sure in a race. I don't know if it's a rat race because rats come up on some cheese. You heard me? That's just, I don't know what kind of race that is. But yeah. You definitely need to get into something else. And what you don't want to do right now is get into a duplicate situation. So if you're in a 9-to-5 kind of situation, or in your case, whatever hours those are that add up to 80, you don't want to trade a job for another job, right? So if it's possible for you to start moving a little bit of your capital into a product-based business, whether you're running the business or someone else is running it, that might be a wise move, right? And this is what I mean. Think of it like this. Henry Ford stated, if I ask people what they want, he's from way back, he said they would want faster horses, right? Which is to say, people were riding horses. If I said, what do you want? They say, I want a faster horse. He had to use some vision to create the automobile, which is much better than a horse. What I'm saying to you is don't get a faster horse. You're in a 9-to-5 working 80 hours. Now you're going to get another job. Maybe you're not working 80 hours. Maybe you're working 40 hours, but you're still in the rat race, right? That's just a faster horse. Maybe you got to get out of that horse and get into an automobile. And the question is, what vehicle will take you to where you need to go? And I probably start using my thinking time and my capital investing in answering that question and trying out some things. Because remember, you got to stack up some failures to get a victory. People sometimes are too timid. They're like, yo, Marquett, what's the product that's going to work? I don't know, but let's try 5 of them. I guarantee we might, one of them. If we try 10, we guaranteed to get one. But you got to be able to fail 9 times, and I'm down for that. I'm super down. And if I wanted to get a chick, I would walk the strip and holler at 100 girls if I needed to. If I need to holler at 100 to get one, I'm going to holler at 100. It just is what it is. I'm going to outwork people. I'm going to outthink them. I'm going to do what I have to do to get where I want to be. But the key is that failure is on the way to success. Nobody picks up a baseball bat and hits the ball out of the park. That doesn't happen like that. It's almost funny. It's just funny because people be thinking like that's what life is, and that's not life. I'm not saying you think that. I'm just saying that this is the era we live in. It's the era where people want to make a quick buck. They want to make a TikTok and go viral. They want to buy an NFT and make $1 million. They want to start with $100 in crypto and make 500,000. It's like, nah, it doesn't work like that. That's TV. Oh man, I'm glad I got a little chuckle into that. Shout out to Vapor saying, he writes, I want a red velvet pimpin'. How much do I send you? He's probably talking about that velvet shirt. I can't even accept your money, bruh. I can't accept your money. They're not presently for sale. I'm pondering because I'm all about quality, and those shirts are about fit. They need to fit well. And so I just can't imagine putting something on the market if it's not going to fit the body the way I want it to fit. You heard me? So I'm pondering. It may never go to market. But I am a big fan of them. You will see me in more of it. You dig? You will see me velveted out. I'm actually working on a short sleeve right now. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. Oh man, it get like that every now and then.
I doubt you have much left.
All right, Saints. Well, hey, it's been truly a pleasure to fellowship with you for this amount of time. It's been such a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to tapping in soon. And for the members, I really appreciate all of you who subscribe at marquettism.com. It really does mean a lot to me. And most importantly, the consistency and loyalty. And we got a lot of exclusive content coming up for you. And oh yeah, if you're a member, you got part 1 of that debate with Kenya Stevens, because that one was taken down from the public. So if you're a member, you actually have that for your own purposes. And there's a lot of game in how to actually deal with any kind of woman, especially an unruly one. because you see that your boy was not shaking. And then by the end, we calmed her down. You did. She even came back for a second go. Anyways, peace to the Saints.